Hotel today, Tuesday, May 31, 2022. So approximately 2 years ago, the ODPEM began a Youth Ambassador Program, which sought to identify a young person who would be tasked to aid the ODPEM to maximize its communication reach among the youth in our schools, in our churches, in our communities island-wide via all available media channels, specifically social media. So in about 2020, the ODPEM selected its first youth ambassador, Ms. Gaynor, who would retain the title for approximately 2 years. She's in that post for 2 years. So today, May 31, we are both sad and pleased all at the same time. Why? Well, we are sad to say farewell to our first youth ambassador, Ms. Gaynor, but we are also pleased to state that due to her efforts, this year the ODPEM will not select just one ambassador because you had a big shoe to fill, eh? We're selecting 2 persons who will take the mantle of the ODPEM, like our predecessor, Ms. Gaynor, and assist the ODPEM in its mandate to reduce the impact of disasters that's occurring in Jamaica among the population. So, ladies and gentlemen, my task is simple today. Once again, I bid you a warm welcome, and I now invite, without further ado, the Acting Director General, Mr. Richard Thompson, to bring the opening remarks. Please make him feel welcome.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Sounds all right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, that sounds a little bit better. I know it's summer and it's a little bit hot, and a lot of persons would have been up from very early this morning. I think one of our youth ambassadors is coming in from Montego Bay. Yes? That's a great Cornwall. One of. Arden is the greatest, but we'll take Cornwall as being the greatest. But let me say a pleasant good morning again to everyone and welcome you all here to this event this morning. It's a wonderful process when we can have youth engagement in disasters. Youth in disasters is a very big thing globally, and we want to say congrats first to those 2 young people for taking up the mantle to be a part of our disaster risk management landscape in Jamaica. So the global demographic statistics would have shown that youth and children and persons below the age of 30 really represent more than half of the global population, right? And this group is really classified, along with women and persons with disabilities, as one of the most vulnerable. And this is one of the groups that is almost always severely impacted during times of disasters. So the United Nations Agency for Disaster Risk Reduction, UNDRR, would have stated that when this disaster would have impact, when it's impacting persons, it impacts children, and young people in different various areas and in different variabilities. So you're talking about the physical impact, mental, it impacts your psychosocial state, access to education, nutrition, and general your economic outlook and your economic opportunities, right? And these risks are more pronounced given the advent of climate change. We know that it is real, despite what many persons would have said, that climate change is not real. Climate change is indeed real. And so climate change would have caused us to have more severe events, right, and more frequent events. And we would have seen for the past decade or so that we have been having more storm systems in the high level of Category 4, Category 5 and upwards. So because of these things which are happening globally, it becomes imperative that sharp focus is placed on the needs of youth and their contribution to disaster risk management, and how we encourage, foster, and integrate disaster risk reduction into our overall response effort, and how we encourage youth participation in disaster risk management. So in an effort for the ODPEM, in an effort to sustain and continue to enhance our mandate in terms of building a disaster resilient nation by reducing the impact of disasters on the Jamaican population and the wider economy, we have recognized that youth plays a pivotal role in our efforts, right? And the agencies, in looking at youth involvement, would have not only started in about 2019. That's right, there, 2019 when we started the first Youth Ambassador program. It seems such a long time, Ms. Gaynor. Seems such a very long time. COVID would have caused us not to expand on the program since 2019, but we would have seen extensive work being done by young Ms. Gaynor, representing our school very well. You are from the Queen's School, yes, right? And not another school, second to Arden. But our efforts would have dated back to about 2009, when we, as the ODPEM, would have started for the very first time youth engagement, and this would have been pushed and supported then by the former Prime Minister Golden, who then within himself, as the Prime Minister then and as our country leader, recognized the importance of youth involvement in disasters. And so then we would have started what was called the Preparedness and Emergency Response Corps, PERC for short. And we would have engaged then cadets in school as the first group of persons that were trained. And we would have expanded on that program, and would have also, coming out of that program, we would have gone a little bit further to have a national volunteers program, which involves youth as well in that overall process. So by involving youth in disasters and preparedness and disaster recovery, risk recovery efforts, youth can help not only to increase youth awareness, which Ms. White spoke to. So you can not only increase youth awareness to hazard, but can also open the discussions around measures and the adequate activities that is required to protect your families and to protect their wider communities. So youth can play a wide range of roles in preparedness programs and in looking at the crucial efforts around disaster risk recovery efforts. So you can also assist communities to identify risk and map their risk. So we know a lot of persons who are in school and they are very good at geography, like myself when I was in Arden. That's why I think I probably would have ended up in the field that I am in, right? I was very good at geo and very good at mapping and all these things, thanks to one of the best geography teachers then and probably still in Jamaica, Miss Hutton, who was my teacher then, would have molded myself and others to look at geography and how we can get geography to be part and parcel of what we do in our communities. So you can assist in that, in these areas where they are good at particular efforts in school, and they can translate this into disaster risk management and how they can assist their families and their communities. The youth can help by sharing the message of disaster preparedness and help their families and communities to prepare best for disasters. Being part of the community emergency response team and act as agents of change. And this is one of the most significant things that we would want you to do, to act as agent of change by informing and providing the information to what they would have learned in disaster risk management and disaster preparedness, and bring creative resources and creative ideas to the disaster preparedness effort. We all know youths are filled with new ideas and they are bubbling with the chance and the possibility of providing this to us. When we would have started our internship program in the ODPEM in about 2013, when I was acting for the first time as Director General, it was with an effort not only for young people to come in, learn the workspace and be able to be provided with an income to assist their families and themselves to go back to school, but it was with a view to ensure that they are bringing new knowledge to us. I always say to my senior directors, they are not just here to learn from you, right? But you are there to learn from them as well, because they provide this kind of fresh breath of air when it comes to creative ideas. So these areas that I would have spoken to just now are just a few of the myriad of disaster preparedness and risk reduction activities that youth can engage in. Right? So the ODPEM Youth Ambassadors Program is one such initiative in terms of engaging young people and getting them to be involved in disaster risk reduction measures. And you would have heard that Ms. White would have said that the program would have started in 2019, and Ms. Gaynard then was our first youth ambassador, and no one can take that away from her. The first will always be the first, right? The first will always be the first. So the Youth Ambassadors Program is have the mission of providing youth with the space, helping us to foster disaster risk management across the wider Jamaican youth population, and ensuring that there's an appreciation for disaster risk reduction concepts, practice, and procedures throughout the whole area, and also it lends itself to provide for learning opportunities for young people, and allowing them to use these learning experiences to execute projects within their communities. So disaster risk reduction in general, and we have been preaching that for years, that it requires all of society engagement and partnership. And it also requires us to be able to empower and ensuring that there is inclusive disaster risk management. And inclusive disaster risk management looks at how we ensure that everyone is involved. Persons, women and children, persons with disabilities, endemic societies. We have not a lot in Jamaica, but you would hear persons who are Maroons and speak that they have a different culture, and we should ensure that these things are taken into account when we are looking at disaster risk reduction initiatives. It involves access to information, and also ensuring that there is non-discriminatory participation approach within the disaster risk management agenda. And ensuring that we're paying special attention to young people and looking at the whole gender apparatus. And gender does not include women only. A lot of time when we speak about gender initiatives, persons believe that we are talking about women issues. It's not only involve women issues. Gender in disaster risk management, and gender in its broad construct, involves age, sex, it involves in cultural norms, and it looks at the age grouping. So it looks at adults, the aged, young people, children. It takes a wide gamut in terms of when we're talking about gender. So what we have to look at is inclusive disaster risk management, and the role that youth and children play in that inclusive disaster risk management agenda. So for this year, I think we would have looked at the program, the national program in terms of our Youth Ambassadors program, and see how we would want to widen the program itself, and ensuring that we are bringing more youth into sharp focus and giving them that space to work and to express themselves. So we would have sent out our advertisement. We would have received application. My team is telling me from about 9 parishes, and we would have had the young females dominating the process again, similar to how it is in the wider risk management arena, where women tend to play a more active role in communities and disaster risk management in general than men. And so my team would have said to me this year, sir, we would want to have 2 youth ambassadors, and we want to ensure that we have specifically a male. And I think it was with a drive to ensure that we are getting young men to be more, to participate more in disaster risk management, and to ensure that they are bringing their ideas to the fore, and how young men can contribute as well to the wider society. So with that said, I want to extend my congratulations to the two young people over there. Well done to you both. Give them a round of applause. You know, what's your name?
Vivian Horton is my name.
Repeat?
Vivian Horton.
Miss Horton. And you are?
Aunt.
You're on to
Curtis.
Curtis. All right. I see you're starting and you say, I wonder if I should. I wonder if I should. But yes, man. So give them a round of applause. You see, when young people step out like that, it shows that they are young leaders and that they are destined for greatness. And so what we want to do at the ODPEM is not only to create new risk management specialists and persons that have a passion for the field of disaster risk management, but we want to ensure that we are molding young leaders of this country and persons that can carry on to build our economy long after we would have passed from this good earth. So congratulations to the two young persons sitting at the front, and also congratulations to the persons who would have helped to mold them thus far and to bring them to this space to where they are today. So I give big ups to the parents of these two young persons and the persons who would have supported them, not only the wider community, because we are parent by the wider community. I think we probably would have not looked at that in our country for some time, but we are generally parent by the wider community. I think it was probably greater in my day as a youngster, and probably even more greater in our parents' days as youngsters, where you are really molded by the wider community. I think that's something that we have to get back to as a society. So congratulations to you all. Big ups as well to young Miss Gaynor's mom. Our mom and her dad is always there with her, supporting her. But I tend to see her mom a little bit more in terms of being out there with her and pulling her along. So congratulations to everyone. And we're hoping that for this year we will see a further widening of our program and a further widening of youth involvement in disaster risk management. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Thompson, and rightfully so. We would not have named our two new young youth ambassadors as yet. I intend to do that, but before we do that, Mr. Thompson made an important point. You know how it is when it's your first. And so I'm going to invite Ms. Kyla Gaynor, the ODPEM's first youth ambassador, here to the lectern, even though we have a pre-recorded statement from her. But we want for you to come join us here at the lectern as we give her a round of applause for all the work that she has done. Ms. Gaynor was able to represent the ODPEM disaster risk reduction issues even in light of COVID. We were not able to go to a lot of the face-to-face events, but I think more significantly, she represented Jamaica well at the regional forums and on the world stage. So I'm going to ask for you to stay here for a few minutes as we hear your presentation. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kyla Gaynor, first ever Youth Ambassador for the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM. A network of young people is a very influential and powerful source of spreading valuable information. As a DRR youth lead, let me share some of my experiences in this exciting role. There is a positive and lasting impact of representing ODPEM for such a substantial cause as disaster risk management. And along with the support of my friends, followers, family, and the support of the ODPEM staff, the tenure of being Youth Ambassador will always be etched in my mind. It began after winning the first place trophy of an ODPEM poster competition in 2020, and the role of the ODPEM Youth Ambassador was born as the brainchild of the then Director General, Leslie Harrow. My reign has given me the opportunity to speak publicly about disaster risk reduction (DRR) to my peers and to the general audiences on educating them on a better way. Therefore, I garnered the experience of communicating with public figures at many different levels of society, namely the Most Honorable Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Desmond Mackenzie, Mami Mitsutori, Assistant Secretary General and Special Representative of the Secretary General of DRR in the United Nations Office for DRR, Mariko Kagoshima, UNICEF representative, radio and media personalities such as Kadeen, Miss Kitty, Hilton, Dele Harris, Wesley, Bergerman, Berger, and Terry Carell, among others. This role has also broadened my perspective on DRR in the eyes of others, how they view themselves as influencers in the light of preparing and preventing disasters and emergencies. That being said, I utilized all major social media platforms in an aim to reach as many persons in my peer group and others about current affairs, bulletins, weather updates, and general information about DRR. Platforms used are IG, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and I created original and comical content to grab the attention of followers. Beach cleanups, radio appearances, and talks were all a part of the job, and I enjoyed the journey. My most memorable event in capacity as ODPEM Youth Ambassador was the preparation and presentation afforded me by invitation to the Office of the Prime Minister. There I met in person the Most Honorable Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, and gave an address in his presence and to the nation about my role, including the call to action for my peers regarding DRR. I have learned about mass communication, how to engage my audience, and to keep them listening. This opportunity has allowed me to increase my confidence in public speaking, but most importantly, the role of ODPEM, how crucial and pivotal it is in risk reduction, especially in the face of a pandemic. Youth have a role in their household to support the emergency and prevention relief. As head of the Global Environment and Restoration Stars, GEARS, a group I created in 2020, and a member of Jamaica Environment Trust, JET, I will continue to do beach cleanups and sensitize my peers about the prevention of man-made and natural disasters. To the incoming youth ambassador, I would say that preparation for interviews is very important. Also, read important material from ODPEM sites and the library. It is essential for you to be up to date about DRR from JIS and the Ministry of Health. It is also very crucial to have parental support and support from your peers. You do not have to do it all on your own. I would like to say a huge thank you to the entire staff complement of ODPEM for creating, organizing, and making this role a success. There are a few persons, however, that gave first-hand support and enabled the work of the Youth Ambassador from day one to present. They are Leslie Harrow, the then Director General, Richard Thompson, Acting Director General, Delmares White, Director of Information and Training, Kristen Rohn, Giovanni Samuels, David Nation, Aston Barrett, Joyce Robinson, Novia Drummond, and Shinelle Henry of the JIS. Thanks for an amazing opportunity.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you. Did you want to say anything to this particular grouping, Ms. Gaynor, since you're standing here? And we wanted to just say, you know, excellent video, thank you as usual. Is there something you want to say? Maybe to Mom.
No, don't put her on the spot.
She can. No, she can.
She's prepared. You trained her well.
Okay, well, so to the Acting Director General, Management and the staff of ODPEM, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am indeed grateful to be invited here today as new life and work unfolds by way of our incumbent ODPEM Youth Ambassador. Let me extend a warm welcome to you and wish for you every success as you venture into the field of service as a DRR youth leader. You will persist until you succeed. Use your platform available resources to make lasting change for the good of others. And always remember, you don't have to do this alone. I would like to thank every single person that has initiated, supported, and paved the way for the intuitive inception of ODPEM Youth Ambassador Corps. The brainchild of the then Director General, Mr. Leslie Harrow, aptly supported by Mr. Richard Thompson, now Acting Director General, and Delmares White, Director of Information and Training, Ms. White. I would like to personally thank you for your guidance and training, especially with my speeches and overall, for taking such good care of me at each event. Special thanks to Joyce Robinson, who many of you may not be aware created the very first ODPEM Youth Ambassador sash. Thank you, Ms. Robinson, for always being supportive of this role. To the sensational trio of Kristen Rowan, Javori Samuels, and David Nation, who gave me the warmest welcome and guided the process of my advent to this team from the 2020 ODPEM poster competition. Every radio and live media broadcast right through to today. To Aston Barrett, who was a calming and professional presence, digitally documenting every memory. Thank you. To each and every member of Team ODPEM, it is with heartfelt gratitude that I say thank you. Thank you for all of your unending support and the work you all displayed to enable my growth. I have grown personally and professionally and will treasure all my moments spent as a part of your family. Last but certainly by no means least is my love and thanks to my parents, who are the wind beneath my wings. I move forward in faith, continuing my work in disaster risk management as the team leader of Global Environment and Restoration Stars, GEARS, via the Jamaica Environment Trust, JET. There is valor and value in the service of self, others, and community. I thank you.
And to borrow a phrase from the late Louis Bennett, don't clap her again, man. We were so really pleased to have her, and she rightfully said Leslie Harrow's brainchild really was under his directorship that we started the program. Mr. Thompson would have mentioned other times when we engaged the youth, so we're really grateful. But not to steal, we told you earlier that it's a sad moment, so whilst we're sorry to see you go, we know with open arms stretched, welcome those who are joining us now. And so it is at this time that I think we should big up the two schools first, right? So I don't know if I'm supposed to say Cornwall College or Arden first. I don't know, but I know the women comes first. The women comes first. And so because the women comes first, we must say Leanna Jones from Arden. Congratulations, stand up for me. Mr. Thompson would have said to you how we came to this place through Mrs. Morgan's assistance with our team in the training unit, and they went through 9 parishes worth of applications when they came in. And so the two winners, we have Liana, who is standing now, and I think Curtis Clennon. He's from Cornwall College, Mr. Clennon, and he brought his cheering team with him. His aunt and his sister is here representing. I'm not sure if you brought your Ardenites with you, but I know that is also another set of first. So we welcome them both. And so it is at this time that we invite them individually each to give their acceptance, accepting the office of the Youth Ambassador. And so in fine style, I'm going to ask first that Miss Liana Jones come forward and make her acceptance speech. Thank you.
Mr. Thompson, Ms. White, Mr. Clennon, other specially invited guests, a pleasant good morning to you all. So I have to stop for 20 seconds to big up all my Ardenites out there. Optima, we are the best. All right, so I am deeply humbled and inspired by the privilege to be selected as one of the 2022 ODPEM Youth Ambassadors. I have always been passionate about the impact of human behavior on the environment and in turn how it affects our daily lives. I can't say that I got that passion through geography like Mr. Thompson did, but it's a passion that I share nonetheless. In previous years, I have translated this passion into service through participating in various cleanup efforts and educational campaigns hosted by the Arden Environmental Coalition, of which I was a member, which was started recently, so I don't think you would have had the opportunity to be a part of such a great organization. So each year during the hurricane season, we have all watched painful news stories of persons who have lost their homes and lives due to flooding and land slippage. As each year passes, I have often wondered, what can I do to help? As such, when the opportunity arose, I immediately jumped at it, as I believe it would allow me to contribute in any small way possible in helping reduce damage caused to us by weather phenomena. I want to assure you that along with my colleague and with the help of ODPEM, we will work tirelessly to educate young persons like myself about the need to improve disaster preparedness and management. I hope that I will be given the opportunity to implement my proposed plan, which is aimed not only at reducing the impact of environmental phenomena on our country, but geared towards helping create a new sustainable way of living in Jamaica through education. Once again, I thank ODPEM for having the confidence in me to select me for such an important position. A pleasant morning to you all.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Former Ardenite, you can't get them out of anything, you know. So let me just take the time. I was given a note to say that we're streaming live on RETV and RETV and JNN YouTube channels. So we want to just big up those persons who are watching us live at this point. And so I see that my other colleague is ready, Curtis Clennon. He's ready to make his acceptance speech. Welcome.
I'm not going to be in a competition with you with your school thing, right? Because we know that Cornell is the best. So, did you know that it takes less than a second to make a first impression? Right. To our dignitaries, my colleagues, family and friends, a pleasant morning to you all. My name is Curtis Clennon, as you all know. And I have been given the privilege to stand before you as a facilitator of change, charged with the responsibility of representing one of the Jamaican government's most essential auxiliary bodies, whose main focus is the protection of our citizens. The single most important thing that I want to leave with you today is our mission, which is our commitment to leading the process of reducing the impact of disasters on Jamaica through comprehensive disaster management. As I stand before you today, I am lost for words because of my gratitude to the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management for selecting me, an inexperienced but ambitious young man, as your male youth ambassador. I will do my utmost best to stand firm in this office bestowed upon me, as well as being an embodiment of our vision as an agency, a proactive, world-class agency, building a disaster-resilient nation. Again, I thank you. Have a blessed day.
Thank you very, very much, Curtis. At this time, I'm going to invite the lady who makes the good sashes, right? That's what Miss Gaynor told us. That's Miss Joyce Robinson Reynolds. She's the information officer at ODPEM. And of course, she had to go make 2 more. So I'm going to invite you to bring those sashes here. Then I'm going to invite Kayla again to come back. Kyla, sorry, to come back here. And then just assist Joyce in branding our 2 youth ambassadors. I'm going to ask you to join me here. Additionally, I'm going to ask my representatives from the ODPEM to bring those gift baskets in for me. It's too, should I need your assistance to hang on? That's fine, that's okay. You can do that and then we'll advise. Can you come in the front then? Yes, so we can see. Thank you. So I'm told that our youth ambassador, Miss Jones, will be given the sash. She'll be branded with the sash. And Mr. Clennon Curtis will be given a pin, because Mr. Thompson says we don't sash the males. At graduation, we call them land guards and we put them on, eh? All right, so, and so we invite Mr. Thompson for the first series of photo ops. All right. Yeah, got it. Excellent. All right, if I may direct. First set of photos, we want the 2 new and 1 outgoing ambassador to stand together if that's possible. You want to stand between both? Oh. And then we'll do them separately. Yeah. You can get behind the banner. Do we need to move the banner over there? You tell me. Is that fine? Move the lectern a bit out the way. I don't know. Are we guided by you? That's good? And then after that, ask them. Go ahead. After that, we'll have Mr. Thompson join them. Sir? You can stay for a minute.
I'll stand here and I will take some
All right.
a little bit taller than
All right, can with you? With you, Mr. Lafayette, go in the middle for me. I have both on the other side of you.
you want?
In the center.
No, that's fine.
We'll ask the family members of both the new youth ambassadors to join. You ready for your picture? Excellent. Like one moment, first, one moment.
Congrats.
And Mr. All right, family members, you want to join?
Yeah, for a handshake.
Family members can join Mr. Barrett to do our in-house photos, please. Okay, thank you very much. I want to ask you to take your seats as I invite one at a time to collect the basket. We're going to get into our thank you, vote of thanks in a few minutes. Before we ask Mrs. Drummond-Morgan to come, we would like to present to Ms. Gaynor. As she leaves the basket, Mr. Thompson will make the presentation for her. Sir, can you just hand over? Thank you so very much for your time and effort and your service. You can present the basket to her, please. That's it. Thank you very much. We're going to ask both new youth ambassadors to come forward. We're going to ask Ms. Robinson Reynolds to present the baskets and Mrs. Novia Drum and Ms. Kristen Roan Williams to present the bags. You want to stand with them, guys, please? Ask them. All right, thank you, Judge. Mrs. Kristen Rose, please only, the bags. Can we have them with the bags? No, dear. Can they hold them and get the bags? 1 minute. Mrs. Drummond, leave them. Oh, put them on? Yes, the bags. Yes, please. If we just put them down so we see what we got. Just stay there, Monday. We need a photo with all of them. Right, there you go. You can hand it. And then you just take a photo with them with that. Thank you. Mr. Thompson, can you just join them now with all the gifts, please?
So sharp inside.
All right, thank you very much. You may take your seats. You can assist them. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we're at the final leg of this presentation here today, even as we congratulate our new incoming youth ambassadors and our outgoing ambassador. We're going to ask Mrs. Novia Drummond-Morgan, the training manager in the ODPEM, who actually spearheaded the event, to move the vote of thanks. Please make her feel welcome.
Pleasant good afternoon, everyone.
Good morning.
It's still morning. All right, I'm moving ahead of time. Okay, so as was previously introduced, my name is Novia Drummond-Morgan, training manager at the ODPEM. And I take this opportunity because it's not every day that you see change taking place right before your eyes. The Director General spoke about change, and I heard the ambassadors talk about change. And there's a reason for that, because as our environment is changing, everything is changing around us, and we must change in terms of how we approach disasters. And that's why when we got the applications, and we got so much applications, it took 3 days to do all the interviews, 3 full days to do interviews. And on that note, I'm going to thank the St. Thomas Municipality, one of the interviewers, as well as from Jamaica Fire. So let's just give them a hand while I mention them. And we had to sit through all those interviews, and it was such a hard decision. You had persons from UA, Sixth Form, and UTech, NCU, and it was so, seeing the sense of appreciation and interest that was shown was momentous. And then I remember these persons' interview. And I'm going to tell you what stood out. It wasn't the qualification, nor was it the experience. What stood out was the core values that the ODPEM represents, the sense of integrity, professionalism, and compassion that they exhibited and that they expressed for the role. And it just seeing that sense of, that those core values coming out was something that stood out. We said that, okay. Especially the gentleman, okay, wow. I mean, honesty. You'd have had to have been there, honesty. And it brought to light a sense of who he was in terms of his background. And, I want to thank them for their expression of interest. So, which brings me to, one main thing that, I'd like to tell new ambassadors coming on, which is that the ODPEM as an organization, we are not just here about what you can do for the ODPEM, but how we can develop you as individuals. So it's also about what ODPEM can do for you. And that's a major thing for us. So on that note, I'm going to be ending here in terms of my vote of thanks. Thanks to the JNN for being here. They were here from early. JIS, as I said, the JDF, Jamaica Fire Brigade, as well as St. Thomas Municipality, all right? And Mr. Thompson from coming out of it, in terms of, he is a very busy person. Him being here is also something that you can just imagine in terms of disasters. It's all year round. Every minute there is a disaster, but he's here because he understands in terms of the importance of today's event, all right? So on that note, thank you very much for being here, everyone.
Thank you, Mrs. Morgan. We want to call the reps that assisted. I see 2 baskets. I'd hate to think we're taking them home. And as a result, since Mrs. Morgan is already here, maybe you'd like to make the presentation then. And is it that we're giving them to the
Interviewers, but only one is here.
Okay, that's fine. So we'll make the presentation. Could you come and name the person and then present? Thank you.
Okay, here with us today, I want to give your hands together, Martina Medley, St. Thomas Municipality. Just give her a hand for me, please. I mean, I remember even one person could not make it during the allotted time, so even 6 o'clock she was online to assist with interviews. So I really appreciate that.
Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We've come to the end of, there's another. Before we close out, I'm getting a signal that there is another. All right, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We've spent quite a number of hours with you. It's almost midday, almost lunch. I hear we are being treated to lunch, right, Mrs. Morgan? But before we leave for lunch, let me just say thank you, JNN, the JIS representatives, again for coming. Thank you so much. We look forward to working with our 2 youth ambassadors. We have an event tomorrow in St. Mary, and so that's an expo, and we're going to invite the 2 youth ambassadors and our outgoing ambassador to give your contact information to Joyce today so that we can have you participate in those 2 live outside broadcasts on 2 different radio stations, I think. So we'll do that. And so thank you so much. As we close out, Mr. Thomas would like to make a point.
Come on, I'm speaking to you.
Okay, so before we close, I understand that we have the documentation here for the signing of the contracts with the 2 new youth ambassadors, the code of conduct, and they'll be given a handbook. So at this time, we're going to see Mr. Thompson and both new youth ambassadors coming in, signing that document. Could we remove some of the bags from the table and the gift baskets, please? Thank you.
So quickly, let me just say that as part of the program, when we started this program in 2019, I said to the team that what is essential in terms of young people being on board in an event is to ensure that there's a code of conduct as to how they should operate in terms of representing the organization. And so this morning, as part of this official process, we'll be having these 2 young persons signing the code of conduct in relation to the ODPEM Youth Ambassadors Program as to how they will deliver themselves, they will conduct themselves, and they will continue to grow throughout the process. So this is an official process, and we'll ask the videographers and the cameramen to capture those for us, please.
That's it? That's it? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have finished the signing ceremony. And so at this time, as we close out, we would like to remind you that lunch will be served here. And to our viewers on JNN and the other JNN and the JNN YouTube channels, thank you so much for watching. Have a good afternoon.